Hi, I'm Mrs. Greno, and I'm going to be your online math teacher for eSchool Trigonometry. So I wanted to welcome you to the course and just give you a brief overview as you get started and just highlight some main points I want to make sure that you see before you're jumping into your first section. A little bit about myself outside of eSchool here is besides being an online math teacher, I also have three children that are also part of Kenosha School District. So my oldest is Bella. She's an eighth grader at Mahone. My middle daughter is Gianna, and she's a fifth grader at Nash Elementary. And then my youngest little guy, you can see he loves his sisters, is a third grader also at Nash Elementary. So they keep us busy, my family busy, just with their sports and different activities. And then also for myself outside of eSchool is I do teach fitness classes kind of as a hobby at the Rexplex in Pleasant Prairie. So let's jump right into your course so we can see what lies ahead for you here with trigonometry. So you can see here there is 5 units that you're responsible for. So 5 different units along with then your final exam is just contained in this last unit, 7 that it's listed. One of the things I want to kind of point out here is make sure this is your landing page, that you're reading through all of this, including the academic integrity policy, which is for all Kenosha eSchool courses, and that pertains to plagiarism and copying and what that means, especially in a math class, understanding that you can't Google an answer and then copy that answer right into an assignment of any type. So that would be considered a consequence, or in violation, and then there'd be a consequence for that based on the policy. First thing though, as you are getting started in trigonometry, is to make sure that you read through everything in the welcome folder, that you see everything in the welcome and the math help folder before you jump into unit 1. So that's where it says start here. First is the course expectations document. Okay, so this is attached to your welcome email. So if you've read through this, otherwise take your time reading through all the introduction part here. So what I kind of recommend you do, or how you work through it specifically for a math course, just to make sure that you are successful, kind of spreading it out. Obviously with a math class, it's really hard to try to do like a lot in a little bit of time versus working on it consistently, especially this trig course, so that you're giving yourself that opportunity to work through a new lesson, take notes, do an assignment, allow me to grade it, give you feedback, right? And then if you need to resubmit or make corrections, you have that opportunity, kind of that continual back and forth through all the different parts of a unit. Here's some communication links and resources that you want to take a look at. Weekly updates are in your announcements in your course. So over here on your left-hand side, when you get into your student view for trigonometry, you're going to have your to-do list will pop up. So what's due, but you can also condense that. And you should see course announcements, which I update every Monday, and it kind of gives you my schedule for the week and some important information for that week. So please make sure that's a good thing kind of on a regular basis on Mondays to check out. But then again, condensing all that, you're back to all these unit folders. You're able to access exactly what you see here. As I scroll down, I touch base in the course expectations about progress reports. Those are emailed out to you and your parents on a regular basis. This is actually Kenosha eSchool. If you haven't seen it, this will be where any tests you have to take at eSchool will be done here in our lab in a proctored setting. Pace charts are really your due dates. So your gradebook has a due date listed for every assignment, kind of paces out from your start date to your end date. That's what sets your pace. So if you are behind on any, that you're considered behind pace if you have assignments that are past due. And attendance policy for eSchool is the expectation that you are working and submitting work on a weekly basis. One of the things you'll see, very important things you'll see within each unit, is a discussion-based assessment. So that's towards the end of the unit, and that is when you and I will talk on the phone, or we can meet on Blackboard Collaborate, which is our online classroom. But again, it gives kind of that opportunity for me to kind of feel out what you do know, make sure that you've learned what you need to learn right in that unit, but also answer any questions you have, work through some problems that you've been stuck on, review stuff. Know that that's not the only time that we can work together, but it's just a definite kind of stopping checkpoint for students as they move throughout my trig course. Your gradebook, check your gradebook on a regular basis. Late work and policies, resubmitting work. If you see an arrow, needs to be resubmitted, so don't wait for it or don't skip over it. Go back and resubmit it. So use that opportunity to make corrections on any of your assignments or on any test corrections or anything like that. And again, knowing your gradebook, understanding what's there, again, with the due dates listed, your scores and whatnot. Right with that is checking feedback. So in your grade book, you can click on any score and it will pull up that specific assignment. So obviously with an online course, everything is documented, organized nice and neatly, so you have access to all of it throughout the whole course. Recommendation with the math course is that that feedback is so important, so that in trigonometry, you're learning from your mistakes. So if you get anything less than 100% on an assignment, that you're going back and looking either at the questions, if it's like an assessment, or if it's an assignment you turned in, you're looking at my feedback with what maybe for certain problems that you might have made mistakes on. If I'm giving you a video to watch, right? Or if I'm explaining what your mistake was, that you're taking note of that, adding it to your math notebook, and maybe using that to resubmit later on. Good. Setting up your math notebook, making sure you are taking notes. So every unit, every lesson, that you basically have a blank notebook. However you're going to organize yourself in taking notes through each unit, so that you can refer to those as you work through it. Final thing for trigonometry and for all eSchool courses is that you do take a final exam at the eSchool office. It is proctored. You can kind of read here for more information. And you do have to pass your final exam. So you have to have an average of 60% or higher, no matter what your overall grade is. So this is where it's really important that you're preparing, right? We're working through it, those discussion-based assessments, looking at those as a great opportunity to work with me, right? To make sure, okay, I'm going to see these same types of questions on my final. Let's work through them now, okay? Or reaching out for help on a regular basis and staying on pace so that you can finish your course and have that final exam not be high anxiety or stress, but knowing that you're prepared for it and you are able to use notes on it. So if that helps. As I go through the rest of the stuff here, next in your welcome folder is math mindset. So again, whatever your math kind of, resume up to this point is with all your math courses you've taken, kind of getting yourself in that growth mindset that you're going to make mistakes, you're going to learn from them, and there's some things you can read through here, specifically the checklist of habits. So these have been kind of shown for online courses and even face-to-face courses. If you're doing these on a regular basis, that's where you're going to see success in trigonometry. Online Learning Handbook, this is probably more, you don't have to go through this completely, but just if you need to reference that, that's a good reference, especially if maybe it's the first time you're taking any type of online course. Next, so here with what you actually first need to do. So the rest of this is reading. Here's your first, like, what do I need to do, is your pre-course survey. So this is your math introduction to me, so that you and I obviously can get to know each other a little better. I can learn about you a little bit more, so that this can be a really positive and good experience for you. Again, knowing that your goal, my goal in the end, is that you're successful, you make progress, you pass your final, and you earn your credit by your end date. So once you fill this out in its entirety and you hit submit, it's a Google form, you're going to get a password. So make sure, this is how I kind of ensure that you did this form. Once you do that, you want to write it down or remember that password. You need that to access this first assignment 0.0. So once you submit your Google form, you can go here. Again, you've read the course expectations, right? You have your notebook, you're ready for that. You have the password. You can then hit start, enter it, and then this is just really a quick check, true or false, that you've understand and kind of acknowledge the main points from the course expectations. So there it is. That's the welcome folder. The math help folder, this is one that you're going to kind of probably continually come back to throughout the course, so remember that it's there. There's reference sheets in there, there's unit review outlines, unit circle references, and some of this is here and also within each of the units, but make sure that you remember to come back here. So this is stuff that you could print out and again put in your math notebook and refer to. Specifically, this trig reference sheet is a great one to take a look at, print that off and keep that in. So any of these first ones are really helpful, so I put them right up front for that. So use that. The SC Trigonometry, there's a ton of stuff, all your identities, all of that you're able to reference those within your notes. How to get help with an eSchool math course, taking a look at that. There's a math resource website. Here's my contact information, so have that handy. Save my cell phone in your phone. You can text me, so students text me a lot with smaller questions. We would talk on the phone if it's a bigger deal or it's a discussion-based assessment. And then we also have Blackboard Collaborate. So I am always on Blackboard Collaborate for my office hours from Tuesdays from 9 to 10. That's not the only time I can use Blackboard, so it can be by appointment. So if you need to help, you're struggling with a unit, you're struggling with an assignment, That's something where you could text me, you could email me, call me, and say, hey, can we set up a help session to work on this? And then between our two schedules, we can work that out so that you're getting that help as much as you need to successfully finish each of your assignments and each of your units. In terms of face-to-face help, this is an online course, so the flexibility of it is that you can work on it, access it at any time. I am not at eSchool every day, so I am only at eSchool for my office hours, my face-to-face office hours, which typically will be on Wednesdays from 1 to 3. Now, obviously that doesn't work for everybody's schedule, if you're in class or other things going on. If it does, you're welcome to come work in the lab at that time and get face-to-face help. You could be working and I'm just there if you need to, ask a few questions. So some students like to use that, but know that that is an opportunity that you can use for face-to-face help. Other than that, all help would be either via phone, like a phone session, or on a Blackboard Collaborate or Google Hangouts, where we could set up a time there. Check your course announcements. Like I had said, each week I update them on Monday. Gives you kind of the best idea of where I'm at and when I'm most accessible throughout the day. Also, maybe just some tips for that week. As you kind of scroll down the rest of the math help, you can check that out, how to type math, and some other online math resources. So that is all in your math help folder. Then you'll get into your units within your course. The main thing I want to point out just in this general overview is that a lot of your assignments are Word documents. So documents that you're going to kind of open up. You can print them off and write on them, right? And then there's lots of ways you can turn that in. A lot of times students will print them off, do them by hand, and then take a picture of it with their phone and submit that back. Some students will just write their work out in a notebook and take a picture of that. So when it comes to submitting your assignments, as you start to have questions or not quite sure, please reach out to me. The other thing, and this is kind of listed within each unit, that for each lesson kind of has two things. So a little bit different setup maybe than a course you've seen before. Each lesson has a quiz, so that's right within the course, like almost multiple choice, and then has a graded assignment. So that was kind of that Word document or that Google Doc that you're going to be using. In that graded assignment, you only need to do the odd problems. So feel free to do all of them, but to save you time and really focus on just the main points of each of the assignments, I'm only requiring students submit those odd problems. So again, just kind of take note of that. Sometimes students miss that, and then the workload just becomes a little bit bigger. But that's in general, that's the overview that I have for you. Obviously, there'll be more within each of the units, each of the courses. But again, welcome to the course. I'm excited to have you. Looking forward to working with you. And again, remember, stay in touch with me. Reach out to me. There's the phone, there's texting, there's emailing on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, so that we can earn you that trigonometry credit. We'll see you soon.